Hello and welcome to the Federal's ICC World Cup 2023 podcast. I am Aprameya. On Saturday night, October 14th, India thrashed Pakistan by 7 wickets to go to the top of the table. India successfully chased down 192 in 30.3 overs. It was a dominant display from India with Jasprit Bumrah and captain Rohit Sharma being the standout performance. To discuss about this contest, senior cricket writer R Kaushik joins us from the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. Thanks, Kaushik, for talking to the Federal.
Hi, Apo. Nice to be here with you again.
Kaushik, my first question would be, could you describe how was the atmosphere? We are told 1 lakh plus spectators witnessed this game. But when we look at the contest, it was not so a close contest and it turned out to be one-sided affair. Over to you, Kaushik.
Yeah, it was all like you said, it was a one-sided affair for about 50 overs of the Pakistan innings. Looked as if we might have a contest on our hands. But then we had that epic collapse from Pakistan. Long before the match started, they threw the gates open today at 10 in the morning, Apu, because there was a music show around about 12:30, which lasted about 40-45 minutes. It was an in-stadia thing only, because it was only for the fans who turned up here. It is not for the people who are watching the match on television. And by the time that program started, the stadium was about 75% full, which we would presume was about 70 to 75,000 people already in around 12 o'clock, 12:30 in the afternoon. And it was just an outstanding atmosphere. I mean, I've been to some cricket games around the world,
Right.
including at the MCG when India was playing Pakistan last year in the T20 World Cup. But this was something else. You could just see blue everywhere. You might have seen on television later.
Right.
There's not a single green shirt anywhere. It was just a complete sea of blue. The crowd was heaving and throbbing, and it was just electric. I came outside of the press box and got into the stands for a little while to listen to the songs, and they were singing Vande Mataram, and it was just Bharat Mata Ki Jai, and it was a feeling of, there's a little bit of a patriotic fervor that was sought to be whipped up by certain elements, but it was also a good fun. The energy was infectious, and you couldn't help but get moved by what was happening in front of you. It was just a very vibrant atmosphere, and they fell a little bit silent when Pakistan got off to a decent start, but by the end of the day, obviously they were partying.
Right. Kaushik, talking about the on-field contest, as you mentioned, Pakistan got off to a decent start, and at one stage they were 155 for 2, and Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan were going well. From there, sudden collapse. From 155, they were bowled out for 191. Sorry. So there was nothing wrong in the pitch, was it, Kaushik? Isn't it?
No, it was not. If you remember, about 9 days back, it was New Zealand and England who kicked off the tournament at this very venue. And the pitch for that game was completely different. It was just a wonderful track to bat on. This was not such a batting duty. The ball was stopping a little bit. It was slightly on the slower side. There was a little bit of turn, not like what we saw in Chennai. There was a bit of turn. But yeah, you really can't explain how you can lose 8 wickets for 36 runs in 80 balls from the platform that we had. There was some talk that Babar and Rizwan probably batted a little too slowly and they didn't take the initiative. But the subsequent events proved that, I mean, that's what they probably felt was the right thing to do, given the fragility of the Pakistani middle order and the lower middle order.
Right.
So, I mean, this was the kind of pitch where maybe Pakistan had scored 260, let's say, if we could have had a contest on our hands. But we must also not forget the fact that when Rizwan and Babar were going well, India did not panic. Rohit made some fantastic bowling changes. He got the right guys back at the right time. And they became right only because they delivered the breakthrough. I mean, we were looking at Siraj coming and bowling, and some of us were of the opinion that Bumrah should have come bowled instead of that point. But in fact, Babar Azam in that over. Then when Pandya came back, and we thought maybe Pandya was not the right move, but he got a wicket. Kuldeep was brilliant in the middle overs, and then Bumrah was outstanding. A couple of deliveries that he produced to get the wickets of Rizwan and Shah Khan, just fantastic deliveries. It still doesn't explain 8 for 36. But India was relentless in the pressures that they put on Pakistan, and not for the first time Pakistan cracked under the pressure.
And talking about India's run chase, Rohit Sharma seemed to be in a hurry, scoring brisk 86, and he could have almost scored a century again, but he was brilliant again, isn't it?
He was, Apu. It was almost as if somebody had told him, oh, you should be scored against Afghanistan. So I said, okay, if that's what you want, then I show you that I can score against Pakistan as well. He seemed to be in a little bit of a hurry at the beginning of the innings. There were a couple of agricultural hikes. I don't know if they wanted to take advantage of the hard ball and they wanted to get off to a good start. Shubman Gill batted beautifully for those 4 boundaries before he got out playing one aggressive shot too many. Rohit's batting was out of the world, the pull shots, and he was pulling out the front foot against somebody of the pace of Haris Rauf, who was bowling about 90 miles per hour, and he was hitting huge sixes. They were going 90 meters, 95 meters. It was just an absolutely wonderful exhibition of batsmanship, and it's probably what the crowd deserved, because luckily it was not a sweltering day, but they came to the stadium very early. They were hoping for an Indian victory. They were hoping for some special performances from some special players. They were not disappointed. Maybe they would have been happier to see Virat Kohli score a few more runs, but they were gladly settled for the 86th that came of Rohit Sharma's bat. Of course, Rohit himself was extremely disappointed at missing out on a second consecutive 100, as were the nearly 1 lakh people at the ground. But still it lasted, and it lasted for a long, long time. Pakistan had absolutely no idea how to stop him. This is a good attack, mind you. I know they're not without Naseem Shah, but it is still a very good and very high-quality attack, very skilled attack. But Rohit made them look like novices with his assault that put everything else to shade. I mean, it's a bit of it is just that when Rohit bats like that, then you almost forget what happened before and what happened subsequently. And I'm glad the people who are adjudicating were not carried away by their innings and then they gave the player of the match award to Bumrah.
Right.
That's no more than what he deserved. I mean, he had a fantastic game in the last game against Afghanistan on a belter of a wicket, and he was equally good this evening. I'm really happy to see that a bowler has been rewarded for his part in the victory.
And Shreyas Iyer also got an unbeaten half century, and everything going well for India. Now 3 wins in a row, and they're on top of the table in the tournament.
Yes, it's not an accident. They've been playing really good cricket. Just about the only time when they were in a spot of bother was in the early part of the run chase against Australia in the first game, and that was almost like a wake up call of sorts, I guess. And since then they have been on a mission. Not just the victories, yes, they beat Afghanistan comfortably, they beat Pakistan comfortably, but the manner of the victories have been really stunning. I mean, just putting your foot down and making sure that you show who the boss is. It is not just a message for Afghanistan and Pakistan alone, but it's a message for the rest of the tournament, for the rest of the chasing pack, that look, we mean business. And the impact that it can have on the other teams is one of the things that they will think that if India can chase on target this easily, then sometimes you might be tempted to overreach, where if it's a 260 plus pitch, you might think, oh, we need to get 300 because this side is batting so well and it's so strong and it's batting so quickly. So that can have a sort of cascading domino effect on the rest of the field. And so as far as statements go, the last game, this game, fabulous, top of the table. Yes, India would like a few things to change up a few things just so that they are prepared for all eventualities going into the knockout stages. I mean, I know it's very early to talk about knockout stages because you only won 3 matches, but you would expect that given the current form, that they would go into the semi-finals. But one thing you must remember is that they have won all 3 games chasing. It may not be a bad idea to bat first, put some runs on the board and defend those runs, because you never know what's the point of winning 6 games chasing or 7 games chasing in the league phase when suddenly you might be having to bat first in the semi-final. So that is something that they would probably target in the next 2-3 games going forward once they are confident that they have 1 foot in the semi-final. Obviously, we're not taking anything for granted. 3 wins out of 3 is a great start to the competition. There are 6 matches still left. Plenty of strong sides lying in wait: New Zealand, South Africa, England. So India can't afford to take anything for granted. But yes, would they have taken this situation at the beginning of the tournament? For sure.
And for Pakistan, how will this loss hurt them going forward into the tournament? This is a huge loss.
It is a big loss, Apu, and especially when these things build up. We were talking about 7-0 before this contest, and now it's become 8-0. And even if the people keep changing, you can never shrug off history, can you? I mean, you keep getting reminded wherever you go. Just like the Indians are reminded that now it's 8-0, Pakistanis are reminded that it's 0-8. And no matter who you are, at some stage it is bound to affect you, no matter how strong you might be mentally, that this baggage will accompany the team. It will not accompany individuals who may not have had the baggages of past defeat. But as a group, Pakistan will feel the pinch. But having said that, they have also won their previous 2 matches. They are a very good side. I mean, this one defeat and the manner of the defeat doesn't make them a bad team. They're still a very strong side. And that's something that Mickey Arthur, the team director, took place point out at the press conference. But yes, Would they have liked to have done better in this game? Of course. But this is just one of those things. It's still just one defeat. They've got 2 wins under the belt, and they will try and take some lessons from this. They must be a little concerned about the form of Afridi and of Shadab Khan. Neither of them have been very effective. That's something they will have to ponder over and figure out how to get the best out of those 2 performers. But otherwise, I think they'll be all right. I mean, good night's rest and some introspection, and they'll be back on the park with fresh determination, I'm sure.
And one last question, Kaushik. You just mentioned about 8-0 India won all the 8 World Cup, ODI World Cup matches since 1992. It's been more than 2 decades. Why do you think Pakistan has always lost against India? There have been so many players who have been change in personnel, but still India continues to dominate over Pakistan in ODI World Cups.
It's a mystery, isn't it, Apu? If you knew the answer, then Pakistan would have got 1 win back by now. But it's just one of those things. Sometimes you get on the streak, and you have certain streaks which are really impossible to explain. We can discuss the fact that India are smarter, maybe calmer, maybe less given into emotion when it comes to this contest. Maybe therefore they're able to make better decisions. Maybe they don't get carried away with the occasion. In as much as this cannot be just another game, their focus is probably on the larger picture, on the bigger picture, which is the tournament itself, and not just a singular game against Pakistan. Maybe they've had more stable and more wise heads in the backroom staff. Rahul Dravid here, for instance, Ravi Shastri in 2019, Duncan Fletcher and Ravi Shastri in 2015, Gary Kirsten in 2011. So maybe those are all factors, but you can never really pinpoint and say why is it that one team has got an 8-0 advantage over the other team, and the other team is the one who's actually leading the head-to-heads between these 2 sides. It's just one of those great mysteries of sport, and that's what makes sport in general and cricket in particular a fascinating game to watch.
Right. Thanks for your thoughts, Kaushik. We'll reconnect for India's next game against Bangladesh.
Thanks, Apu. That should be a needle game. India have lost 3 of their last 4 encounters against Bangladesh, so they will be hoping to get one back of their own in Pune in 4 days' time.
Thank you.